Hey guys, this is Steph with Dotting with Dragons. I wanted to share with you today something a little different than what's been featured on my channel, which has been diamond paintings. These are paint by number kits. The brand is Artist Loft, and you pick this up at Michael's craft stores here in the United States. These are 3 kits I haven't seen before. This is actually what started my journey with diamond painting, actually, was this brand from Michael's 5 years ago. I was really excited to see that they have some mini Halloween kits this year. Last year I completed one of their normal size canvases, which is a 16 by 20. So I'm gonna open these guys up and we'll take a look. So, yeah, Halloween has officially landed at Michael's. This is, like I said, a Halloween kit. So typically paint by numbers. Let me just take you through the box. Michael's, they'll have the picture of them done, the mock-up. They'll have kit contents in one language and kit contents in the next. So it'll be, these are 2 mini canvases, and they each come with these, they're not stretcher bars, but I think that's what they call them. Let's see what they call them here. 2 wooden display hangers, some assembly required. Now, unlike the diamond painting hangers, these ones are not magnetic, if I remember correctly. Most of the paint by numbers that Michael sells actually do come with hangers. You can see in this picture right here, this one comes with hangers, so it's kind of nice. Their diamond art kits do not all come with hangers, but their paint by numbers do, even though the diamond paintings from the corresponding size don't. So then what's typical to get is, oh yeah, 12 pairs of metal pins. Yeah, so these will be some assembly. You also get your paints. Usually you get a little paintbrush set. So here's the inside, what this looks like. So here we have our hanger bars. Now you could still use these for diamond paintings. The difference here is that the screws actually go through the canvas itself, so it can be considered a little damaging that way. And I know that the diamond painting sizes of this similar size don't typically have a lot of room to attach a hanger, but they can. So we've got that. We've got our paint set. So they're always vacuum sealed. If they're not vacuum sealed, I would return it and get something different. It just helps the paint stay fresher. Alrighty, sorry about that. So as we go through the box, you're gonna get some the canvases and some information rolled up, and then you get a beginner's brush set. Now, I have found actually that these brushes work really well. Well, they have, they used to be like a light blue, but these brushes are actually really good for beginners, and they give you everything of what you need for the kit. And then these little ticky-tack things are the things that will stick through the holes in the bars. So I can show you that later. So as far as what do you get rolled up here, you get a full color image of what the painting is supposed to look like. So I actually really enjoy these. I will stick this in my, not usually, always, I stick these in my logbooks because they're just the right size to put in there. And I can show you how or why they would fit. Let me see if I can find one that's in here. Most of my logbook these days is filled with diamond paintings. Let's see. Nope. Okay, so just as an example, here is a blank page in my logbook, and what I would do is I would take this image and I would just paste it in, and then that way while I'm working on the painting, I keep this open, and I have a swatch guide that I actually use to swatch all the different paint colors. And I can go into that in another video if you like. Paint by numbers are done a little bit differently, a little bit different tool set, and I just haven't done one in a long time. So next you have this image. So this is the second image that I will be painting. So that's really nice that they include what that's supposed to look like. And then here are some instructions for how to assemble the bars. So as you can see, they do peg through the actual canvas. I've never had the actual canvas though have holes pre-cut, so we'll take a look at that. Now, as far as what is this, okay, this is much larger. This is your guide. This is actually huge. I love that. This is going to give you basically a separate directory of where all the different colors go. Now that might look confusing, but the thing is, you don't actually need that. All you really need is the canvas, and here's the other one. But here's a good reason to keep those around, okay? Because this is the canvas. So I'm going to bring you down a little bit so you can see better what I'm talking about. So trying to get it to focus. Okay, so this isn't coming up very well. It's not showing super awesome on camera, but what these are these are very faint lines with the numbers, and they're very, there we go, that's a little bit better. And so you can see where the different colors that you're going to be putting are, and on your paint pots they have numbers. Okay, so the numbers indicate what number you're going to paint this. So for example, this is number that looks like number 13. Wait, no, that's number 18. Okay, but if I wasn't sure what that was, I would take this paper and I would look and say, oh look, it's 18. So also, if I've already painted over this and I need to put another coat and I'm not sure what color that was, that is again why this guide is very helpful. I've only once or twice had a paint by numbers kit come without one of these. And then I contacted the company and they sent it again later. So as you can see, the lines are a nice light gray, but they are pretty easy to see once you're up close to it, which is how it goes. Because you do this, you know, it's like diamond painting. You do need to look up close. Some people find a magnifier light is very helpful for these. This is a very beginner friendly kit, so I would suggest that if you are interested in trying a paint by numbers and you're coming from the diamond art side of things, give one of these a shot, because the cells, that's what we call the areas with the numbers, the cells are pretty big and easy to follow. So that's canvas number one, and it is made of like a cloth canvas material. It's pretty tough. As you can see, it's like a linen material on the back, and I have worked on the canvas just like this, and the texture helps grip the paint. So I don't really find the need to gesso the canvas first, and gesso is a type of primer basically for your canvas that helps your paints stick to a canvas, because sometimes you get a canvas that's very smooth and slippery, and it helps to give a little bit of teeth for the paint to kind of stick to. And this material itself kind of feels like it's already been gessoed, so I don't really find a need to do that with the Artist Loft kits. And then here's our other canvas. So you can see there's a little bit of a crinkle here. Very easy to get that out. I just use iron. Now this one's got a little bit more of detail down here with these smaller cells, but again, it's still a pretty beginner friendly kit. Now as far as their colors, I do find that with Artist Loft, their colors are pretty decent coverage. You know, some of the lighter colors like whites and yellows and oranges, those colors, no matter what brand you use, tend to have some issue with opacity, and you'll have to usually do like 2 to 3 coats of that color to cover up the numbers. And there's other ways to cover up the numbers if you're still struggling, but I just wanted to show that to you. So in terms of how are we going to assemble this frame here, so what I'll do is I'm going to open this up. And I won't do this with all of them. Well, typically, I have some paint by numbers that I have hung, and I like to put them in frames, like typical frames. I don't use these kinds of frames, so I have donated so many of these frames over time. But I digress. So you get a couple of these bolts, right? And then, so somebody might ask, you know, like, why do I have like so many? Well, this is for one kit and this is for the next kit. So essentially what you're going to be doing is you're going to be lining this up, and you're going to be installing the frames like this. Okay, so just as an example, here's a recent diamond painting kit that I just finished, and this comes with the magnetic frames. These are really nice because they pop on and off. They're very easy to hang. The diamond paintings are typically heavier than a painted canvas, which is why I find it interesting that the painted canvas gets these like screw and hooks or whatever, and the diamond paintings get the magnetic frames. I wish that they would, Michaels, if you're listening, I wish you would change them all to magnetic, because they're really easy to switch out different canvases, and it's a lot of fun to paint these unfinished framing bars. So anyway, so yeah, so you can do that. So here's the one that hangs, here's the one that would go on the bottom. So it would look something like this when you're done, and it just works really nicely. Now you might be saying, well, what about that edge that's not painted? What I typically do is I will actually extend the paint colors beyond the border, or you can just trim it, or you can leave it. I mean, or you can actually just paint it black, whatever you want to do. So here are little gadgets. And so these guys, let me just double check here. Metal pins and okay. Yeah, okay. So what they say is you shouldn't even need to put holes in this. You should just be able to pop it through the canvas. So just curious. I'm just curious how is that really gonna work out like that? Let's see. Okay, so this is what they said. They said you would line these up. Something like this. Now I'm not, if I hang these, I'm gonna be using the stretchers. The stretchers that come, or I'm sorry, not the stretchers, I don't want to ruin my desk. Ooh, but there we go. It just popped right through. And then these guys, you just clip onto the back. So yeah, if I use this, I'm not going to be putting them in these frames. I have a portfolio with pages actually that I put all of my spare paintings in when I'm done with them, if I'm not going to hang them. So that is an option as well. If you guys are interested in seeing a flip through of my portfolio, I'm happy to do that. And then these, they just clip together and they can unclip. So that's kind of neat. So you can just pop them through. So that's what those are all about. So I'm going to clean this up now and show you the other two canvases that I have. Alrighty, so here is kit number 2. We've got an image of what it's going to look like on the front. The image wraps around the box. The name or the branding of it, the kit contents, the size. This is a 16 by 20. And on the back we've got this is a picture of our contents, and it tells you how many number sections you have. I don't think I mentioned that in the other one. As far as the name of the kit, this is something that Michaels could really improve upon. They have very generic names for their kits, and they don't actually have the name of it on the box anywhere. I don't know why they do that. I think that's kind of weird. But anyway, so here's, you know, all the different information like the UPC or the SKU or whatever. So that's probably how you're going to best find this. Oh, I did find the name for this one online. It is just called Dragon Battle. So let's open this guy up. All right, so you'll see very similarly from the other kit, we have pretty much all the same stuff. We've got more paints. Generally speaking, I don't typically run out of any colors when I've done these kits in the past. Now, knowing that this is a orange yellow heavy canvas, the possibility of running out, because you have to go over sections, because those are common offenders in terms of things showing through transparency wise, is a little bit more likely, but there's things to help with that. I'll get into that later. So here again is our basic painting tools, and then we have our canvas. Move these out of the way, actually. Okay, so then very similarly speaking, we have a larger stretcher bar set. We have our image. Very nice image. We'll put this in the logbook. So this will be pretty cool. And just like diamond paintings, paint by numbers are to be enjoyed best at a distance. Okay, so here's some instructions of how to put together that whole thing. And then this is more of a actual comparison to the canvas. As you can see, it's actually the same size. Well, no, it's a little bit smaller than the canvas, but it just provides a clear way to see it. And when I store these in my portfolio, I typically store them with this in the back and then the image in front so I can see. So here is our canvas. It looks like we've got some most of these are pretty clear. I'm finding this is a little bit more difficult to see here. I've never really had an issue with that. That's the number 11. It's coming through pretty clear in the camera. Yeah, so as you can see, most of these are fairly easy to see what you got going on here. And again, we've got a lot of larger cells and some more details, so I wouldn't expect this one to take very long, especially with all these large cells. So the details are really going to be in the dragons. So like there's a dragon head. That'll be pretty cool to see how that turns out. As far as how these usually turn out, I find that they typically turn out very nicely. My very first paint by number kit ever was I'm going to leave this out actually. My very first paint by number kit ever was a Michaels Artist Loft, and it was a what am I trying to say? Oh, it was the Monarch Butterfly, and I'm not sure if they still sell it, but it was a really nice kit. It had a good mix of detail and not detail. So just like with my diamond paintings, I store all these things separate. I store the canvases separate from the materials, because the canvases I prefer to put in that flip through portfolio I have, so that the canvases can really like flatten out over time. So this next one here is just, as far as I could find, it was just called Forest. So again, I wish that they had some better ideas about how to name those so they'd be more specific. Anyways, so again, in here we're gonna have our kit contents. Okay, we're gonna have our paintbrushes, stretcher bars are in there. You'll see these totally different palette. A lot of grays in this. That's interesting. Yellow greens, because of the yellow, tend to be a little bit more transparent as well. I am seeing some of those in here, so, but I'm also currently working on a shipper paint by numbers kit that is basically just like this, and it's not too bad. So it depends on the paint quality, it really does. Okay, so this one is oriented different. It is also a 16 by 20, but instead of being portrait style, it's landscape. So here's the original image. Instructions of how to set up the frame. So, as you can see, this one is way more detailed. Okay, so this is pretty intense. I would not say this one's beginner friendly because the cells are very small and detailed, but it is a forest scene. So if you take a look at, nope, that's the wrong one. Nope, that's also the wrong one. Where did I stick that? Cue adult joke. Okay, so if you see this and you're looking at an image and you're like, oh, this looks really good. Well, it does look really good, and it looks really good because there's a lot of small cells with detail. So if you're coming from the diamond painting side of things, it's the same idea as confetti. It's more intense to do it, but it ends up leading to a lot more detail. So, and I knew that when I picked this up. So important to look at when you're looking at an image that is beginner friendly or not, as opposed to like this Halloween one, where you can see the cells are a lot larger and there's a little bit less detail. It's still going to turn out cool, but it is a little bit different of a beast than this. Okay, so just something to keep in mind. So the canvas, like I said, it is landscape. So instead of it being, you know, tall, it's going to be wide. You can't really tell in the camera. Let me see if I can back you out a little bit, maybe. Yeah, I guess so. So looking up close again, we've got a lot of good detail on these cells. So Michaels does a really good job of printing these, and it's upside down. So they do a really good job of printing these. So yeah, you can start to see the branch up there. And then the larger cells at the bottom will be the path. So I just wanted to show these. Also, you can see there's a bit of a crease in here. I'm not worried about that at all because I know that I can take this, flip it over, and put a wet washcloth here and then iron over it. Or a very thin, like flour sack towel type cloth, and put it over, and it'll come right out. They always do. So I've never had an issue with Michaels canvases creasing, not coming out. So anyway, these are the paint by numbers, some of the selections that Michaels has right now, the Art of Sloth. I definitely recommend you check it out. They always have coupons going, so never pay full price. And you can even shop online for them. Just look for PBN, which is paint by numbers, or you can type in the specific kit names. I'm going to put a link to these kits in the sidebar, so you should be able to find them. So happy hunting, and see you next time.